Recruiting at Alabama is really heating up, and we're going to talk about two big targets that the Crimson Tide have in their sights. Nick Abrams, who's a linebacker from Owens Mills, Maryland, and then a Cincinnati guy from Moeller High School that's a two-sport star. And I'm talking about none other than Nick Ponatoski. We're going to talk about both of these guys, Alabama recruiting and more, right here on the Bama Tailgate Show. So like, subscribe, thumbs up. I know, man, you guys can mash all that stuff. This is hard for Auburn fans, and they may say, well, I can't do that. This is more than just turning on the show and watching. Roll Tide, everybody. Let's just do this thing together on a Saturday and get caught up on what's going on around the Crimson Tide. All right, guys, thank you for being here on the Bama Tailgate Show. This is the weekend edition, and we're talking Crimson Tide sports. We'll have Shank on. I think tomorrow we're going to have the offensive line coach from Davidson, and Alabama standout, join us on the show. I wanted to talk a little recruiting, though, on this Saturday, because I know you guys are like, man, I work all week. How am I going to get caught up on everything going on in Bama recruiting? Well, we're going to do that right here. But let me ask you guys this. To like and subscribe to the Bama Tailgate Show. And then also know that we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort, Philadelphia, Mississippi. Two great golf courses at Dancing Rabbit. The Azaleas, the Oaks, multi-million-dollar facility. It's the Augusta you can play. It is a great place, and you don't need a membership. That's an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 hours and change from Birmingham. I'm talking Dancing Rabbit, Golden Moon, and Silver Star Casino, part of that. The Timeout Sports Lounge, Vegas-style sportsbook right there in Golden Moon. They got the spa. They got the water park. They got concerts coming up. So Pearl River Resort, they're awesome. All right, let's start right here. Nick Abrams, a linebacker from the state of Maryland, and a guy that Alabama is not giving up on. You had Coach Chuck Morrell make the trip up north to the Old Line State, McDonough High School, which is a big deal in Maryland, and they want this guy on the Bama football team. They went up there, according to On3, and basically talked to him about what they think he could do at Alabama. Not just football, but, drawing up defenses, how to blitz, like the relationship that he would have, why they feel like Abrams is a priority. He likes that. He knows that, but he's sought after by a lot of schools. He's the number 4 linebacker in next year's class and the number 14 linebacker prospect in the country. And according to On3, he's the number 6 player out of Maryland. But this is a guy that Alabama has circled and said, hey, we really want him. And they've gone after some guys on defense here lately, pushing after some of the elite players in the country. Georgia's after him. He's got a visit set for Georgia today. He's going to Michigan in June, and then he's coming to Alabama the day before my birthday, June 13th. Then he's going to go all the way out to Oregon. So this guy's really good. I mean, you talk about these schools recruiting-wise, Bama, Michigan, and Oregon, and Georgia amongst the top schools recruiting. But this is a big guy, 6'2", 220 pounds. He's a linebacker. He fits Alabama's scheme. That's kind of one of the big reasons why Alabama wants this guy so bad. And Bama's done a good job of recruiting the state of Maryland. So, it's not just about, being able to go up there and add someone. It's adding someone that fits the system and also kind of brings that same, Bama culture mentality to Tuscaloosa. So this would be a big get for Alabama. Obviously they're in the top 10 recruiting and they have only 5 recruits, but the 5 that they have are difference makers. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to build this class around players that they really believe in. And Abrams from the very start has been one of those guys. So we'll keep an eye on that. And we talked about a couple other guys that Alabama is focusing on earlier this week on the show. Xavier Griffin was the 5-star linebacker out of Georgia, Gainesville, Georgia, was committed to USC, and then pulled out of that commitment, set a date to come visit Tuscaloosa. We talked about that on a show earlier this week. Go back and watch it. But he's someone that Alabama's interested in. And obviously Tank Jones, the 5-star out of St. Paul's. Depending on what recruiting service that you look at, and Jones is scheduled his visit for Alabama on June 20th, some of them feel like he's going to Auburn. And, I guess 24/7 has him 100% right now going to Auburn. And then on the Bama online, which is on 3, they say it's Bama slightly, So this is a real race for one of the best players in the state. He's an edge guy. These are the players, and I talked about this earlier this week, but Bama's got to win the in-state battles. They got to win the in-state battles. This is the one area where Kalen DeBoer has not been, I won't say he's been bad, but he hasn't been dominant like Saban. And the NIL changes it. Obviously, Auburn's got money that they're going to spend. They're going to try to win the in-state battles. And Bama's got to prioritize guys like Tank Jones, who would basically would be a star at tight end if that's what he played, or other positions. He's that good of a football player, and he's a difference maker. And, just kind of getting in there, you want to win the Alabama guys. Plus, he grew up an Alabama fan. Bring him home. I mean, bring him back where he belongs, to Tuscaloosa. Now, another guy I wanted to talk about was Matt Ponatoski, who is a 2-sport star out of Moeller High School, the famous Moeller High School in Cincinnati. I mean, this is the same Moeller that produced guys like Ken Griffey Jr., right? I mean, you're talking about one of the most elite schools for athletics in the country. And Ponatoski is the starting shortstop. He's a great baseball player. He wants to play 2 ways in college. And I feel like this, like when Nick Saban was head coach at Alabama, it really wasn't going to happen, right? I mean, it just wasn't. Like, I think, a guy or two might have had the opportunity to do that. But once football started, Saban wanted all their attention, right? Kalen DeBoer feels like a guy that would understand that if you really had someone that could play quarterback on the football team and then shortstop on the baseball team. Kind of reminds me of our buddy Spencer Pennington, who's one of the only Alabama players ever to throw a touchdown and also hit a home run. And, he was a quarterback and I think an outfielder at Alabama, but a great guy, someone that I like a lot, and an extremely special athlete. Well, Ponatoski's that guy right now at Moeller, 6'2", 190, part of the 26 recruiting class. Bama's Ryan Grubb reached out to him to tell him that he was getting a scholarship, and Alabama would love to have this guy. He's Ohio's football Gatorade Player of the Year. He's taken baseball visits, according to On3, to Kentucky, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State, and Duke, right? And he's also interested in Wake Forest. But as a football player, can you imagine coming to Alabama as the number 9 quarterback in the country and the number 100 prospect overall, and being on the football and baseball team? The guy threw for 4,000 yards and had 56 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions last year. So, this is a guy that Alabama would love. Ryan Grubb has an idea of exactly what he's looking for, right? I mean, and I think that, to me, and maybe this is just, kind of wishful thinking, but I feel like Ryan Grubb rejoining the staff with Kalen DeBoer is going to be the secret sauce for this Alabama football program. And I like that he kind of has a target of what he's looking for. Yeah, they got Keelan Russell, who's an excellent quarterback, but you still add quarterbacks to the room. And Ponatoski's a guy that has a ton of athletic ability. So we'll see what happens there, but got the scholarship offer. Now, kind of switching gears a little bit, and I want to tell you guys again that we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Also, if you're pimping out your man cave, you don't want bare walls like this, newlifeart.com. Use that promo code Bama Tailgate, 20% off anything in there. 20% off. Bama Tailgate, that's our promo code. Justin Jefferson talked about when he discovered that he was going to get an extra year of eligibility. And he said that Kane Womack called him, and he's like, and I didn't want to call you and tell you until I knew it was for real, but you're able to come back. Basically, Jefferson starts crying, right? Diego Pavia, who is the quarterback, or Pavia, the quarterback of Vanderbilt, took on the NCAA for extra eligibility, won that, that basically saying that JUCO shouldn't count because he wasn't able to, take advantage of NIL. And that helped Alabama with Jefferson. And my buddy Clint Lamb feels like this linebacker is going to be such a difference maker. And he felt like it was a Christmas gift getting that call from Alabama. He's crying. He's like, man, he gets another opportunity. Yeah, he gets a 5th year. I don't know what's going to happen in the end with all this stuff, but he said it was a pretty good Christmas and was happy about that. Now, Deontay Lawson had the injury last year that cost him after the Oklahoma game. And I mean, look, Alabama lost Oklahoma and wasn't a very good team after Deontay Lawson went out. Jefferson, who started his career at Pearl River Community College, got to Alabama in 23 and spent the last 2 years for the Crimson Tide. And then, played in 12 of Alabama's games last season. And we feel like he's going to make a huge difference, right? Not just because of Deontay Lawson being out with an injury, but because he's a difference maker. And I think that is what's cool about him coming back. I mean, and it gives you a little bit of depth at the top of the depth chart. And he found out right around Christmas that he was going to be able to return to Tuscaloosa. So Roll Tide. Great to have him back. All right, look, get in the comments section. Tell me what you guys think. I got to admit, like, there is a part of me that's a little concerned that there's only 5 commitments right now. But I understand that the game's changing and that for Alabama, hey, you know what? With limited resources, maybe you just focus on the guys you really, really want. And then at the end, you kind of fill in other guys when the market kind of dries up for some of the other players that are good, but maybe not elite. Because it feels like Alabama's right now battling for the elite of the elite. Guys like Griffin and Abrams and the tank down in Mobile. So we'll find out what happens. But I think Alabama's really got to, and I've said it over and over again because I believe it, they got to knock down those players in the state. Mentioned it before, and I'm just going to throw it up there for a second. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I am going to tell you guys once again that New Life Art is a great partner. And they're hooking us up again with promo code Bama Tailgate, 20% off everything at their site. And hopefully by the next show, I'll have my Daniel Moore print. I've got it. I just got to get a hammer to nail it in the wall here. The other thing I want to say is thank you to everyone at Pearl River Resort. The Timeout Sports Lounge, the Kentucky Derby was a lot of fun. Today's the Preakness. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bet on horses today. But you can do all of that over at Pearl River Resort, a Vegas-style sports book in the Golden Moon Casino in Philadelphia, Mississippi, at Pearl River Resort. So take advantage of that. The golf course is amazing too, Dancing Rabbit, and we love them. We're going to be there the 27th and the 28th. So again, when we get there, we're going to do some shows with our friend Steve Azar, and we're going to hang hard. All right, guys, Roll Tide. Thank you.
To Pearl River Resort.